Welcome. In this video, I'll provide you with an introductory overview on how to use CallCabinet's call listing page and guide you through its fundamental functions. Understanding the fundamental functions of the call listing page provide CallCabinet users powerful control over all their call data. When logging into your CallCabinet account and you are not automatically redirected to your call listing page, you may navigate to this page by going to the menu panel on the left-hand side and clicking on the call listing icon. If you are unsure as to how to set automatic redirection to your call listing page, please go and look at CallCabinet's how-to video on the home page. Upon entering your call listing page, CallCabinet will automatically render all the calls that have taken place over the last 7 days inside the call table. To play a call is a simple matter of going to the call that you're wanting to listen to and clicking on the play button associated with that call. Another way in which you can play the call is to highlight the line of the call. And once you've done that, you go up to what we call the transport bar on the top left-hand side, and you can go ahead and press the play button there. Clicking on the greater than sign on the right-hand side of the transport bar will reveal the call's oscillogram, and you will be able to see a digital representation of the audio. To close this oscillogram, just move to the right-hand side and click on the less than sign on the right-hand side of that transport bar. Hovering over the eye associated with the highlighted call will provide you with metadata about this call. The logged-in user is able to filter their calls that would be displayed inside their call listing table by using CallCabinet's advanced filter selection facility. To make use of these filters, all a user need do is go to the advanced filter button, click on that button, and a drop-down of all the filters that are available will be listed. And the user is able to select any one of these items, allowing them to determine a particular filter criteria that they would like to use on the table. The user is not restricted to just one filter at a time, but may make a combination of filters in order to narrow their search down. As an example, let's change the date range by setting it to last year, for example. Once I've selected that, I need to press the OK button. Notice that the date range has now been set to last year. And next, let's go and add another filter, and this time let us select an agent. From the drop-down, I can go and type in the agent that I'm looking for, and once I've found the agent, I can click on their name. Incidentally, we can add more than one agent. We're just going to select one for the meantime. Once we've selected that agent or agents, press the OK button, and now we see that the two filters are in place. You may have noticed that even though the two filters are in place, the call listing table has not changed in any way. The reason for this is we have yet to apply these filters. So in order for these filters to become active, you must go ahead and click on the Apply button. After a few moments, your table will be rendered, and based on the filters and the criteria that you have selected, those calls will then be listed. If these filters and criteria that you have set is something that you're going to use often, you're then able to save your own filter by clicking on the Save Filters button. In the drop-down that appears, you can enter in the name of the filter you're wanting to save. Once you set the name of the filter, go ahead and save it. CallCabinet will show you that the filter has been successfully saved. You may now use that saved filter anytime you need. So for example, let's go and reset all the filters back to the default. And once we do that, your page has been rendered to the default which is exactly the same as when you logged into this page originally. Now, to make use of the filter you saved earlier, move to the right-hand side of your call listing page and you will see a button called Saved Filters. Click on that Saved Filters button and a drop-down will appear of all the filters that you have saved. Click on the one we just created, the Les filter, and immediately those filters will be applied to your call listing page and all the calls that conform to the criteria that were set in that filter will be rendered in the call listing page. As before, you can reset your filters that you applied back to the default. Should you no longer require that save filter, move to the right of your call listing page and once again click on the Saved Filters button. In the drop-down that appears, go to the trash can next to the filter you're wanting to delete. By clicking on the trash can, you will delete that filter and you will be informed of the deletion by CallCabinet. You may find that you are wanting to list more details about each one of these calls in the call listings table. In order to do that, we are able to go to the button on the left-hand side of our call listings page that says Edit Columns. And clicking on the Edit Columns will bring up a dialog box in which we can select which columns we would like visible and which columns we do not want visible in our call listings table. So those columns that are underneath the Available Columns section are the ones we can add to our table, and those columns that are in the Visible Columns section, those are the ones that are currently present in our table. Let us assume we want to add a new column to our table. To do that, go and select the column that you would like and then click on the 6 dots next to its name. So let us go and select End Time. Upon clicking on them, drag it to the Visible Columns side and then drop it in the position you would like it to appear in the table. So I'm going to drop it just underneath duration. Now End Time will appear in our table. However, we might not want to have, for instance, the number appear in our call listings table. So to get rid of the number, we can do one of two things. Either drag it, or we can press the X next to its name. And doing so, you will see that it will end on the left-hand side underneath the available columns. Once you've made the changes that you want, you must press the Save button to enact these changes. You will see these changes have been successfully saved, and immediately you will see that that new column will appear in your table. And here it is, our End Time column. And that number column we had earlier has disappeared. The logged in user is able to sort this table depending on a column that they click on. By default, the table is assorted in descending order based on start time. But the user can say, for instance, they would like to sort the table on duration, and when clicking on duration, you can see that we have now sorted the table in ascending order because there's a left up pointing arrow next to the column name. If I click on it again, we are now sorting the table according to durations descending time, and if I go back to duration again, it just goes back to the default. Earlier we spoke about filtering, where we could add a filter and then filter our table according to criteria. Another way of performing filtering is actually going to the column against which you'd like to do some filtering. So for example, let us now go to the agent column, and as you hover over the name of that column, you'll see to the right of that column name a 3 horizontal line icon will appear. This is now the filter icon. By clicking on that filter icon, you will be presented with a drop-down in which you are now able to select the agents that you'd like to filter against. Let's select Les from earlier, click on that, Apply the filter by clicking on the filter button, and immediately you will see that your table gets rendered with that filter. Not only that, you'll see all the filters that are in play being listed at the top left-hand side of your call listing page. You will also notice that all the columns that have had filters applied to them will have their filter icon displayed. So for example, start time, which is the date range, has its filter icon displayed, and the agent column has its filter displayed. Incidentally, you are not restricted to just those filters. You can add another filter if you like. So, for example, if we go to duration column and we hover over it, we see its filter icon appear. We then go to the filter icon, we click on it, and then let's go and select, we would like to see all the calls from 0 to 60 minutes. Once I've decided on that and I apply the filter, immediately that filter gets applied and you see that it gets added to the list of filters that are in play. You'll see that the duration column now also has its filter icon displayed. Once again, if you would like to return back to the default, you're able to reset the filters. Now through the filtering process, you have now filtered out all the calls that you are wanting to listen to. And in order to drill into those calls, you will need to go to the call details page. To go to the call details page, you will go to the row of the call that you're wanting to drill into, and then go to the column in which there is a button called View Call. By clicking on this View Call button, you will be taken to your call details page. When entering into the details page of that call that you selected, you will notice that there is a plethora of information available to you in order for you to work through the call and analyze the call. Not only are you able to see certain features about the call, but you are able to add details around the call. For instance, you may add notes to particular parts of the call. You may email the call. You may share the call. There are a number of things that you are able to do from this page. These features will be described to you in another video. In the meantime, we are going to go back to our call listing page. To return to your call listing page, once you have finished working inside your call details page, please ensure that you press the back button inside the call details page. Please do not press the call listing icon in the menu or your browser's back button. When clicking the back button inside the call details page, you are ensuring that all your filters will remain in place. And you will see that when you press the back button, you are taken back to your call listing page and all your filters remain, and all the calls that have been filtered according to those criteria will be listed on this page. Let us go ahead and reset all our filters by clicking on the Reset Filters button. This returns us back to our default view. Depending on the role and permissions the logged-in user has, so they may be able to perform a number of bulk operations. These bulk operations are determined by the bulk operation icons that appear on the top right-hand side of the call listing page. These include, amongst others, sharing of calls, emailing of calls, downloading a list of exported calls which appear in a spreadsheet, legal holding of calls, deleting of calls, and downloading of calls. Now, in order to activate these bulk icons and behaviors, the logged-in user will need to select the calls against which they would like that behavior to take place. So, for instance, if they would like to go ahead and share this call, they need to click on the checkbox associated with this call. And if they want to share this call, they will need to check this checkbox, and so on and so forth. Once they have decided on all the calls that they would like to share, they would go ahead and click on the Share Calls icon. The process of sharing calls and emailing calls and applying a legal hold and downloading of calls and the deleting of calls will be discussed in more detail when we look at CallCabinet's Call Details page. But just remember that bulk operations take place using the bulk icons which are on the top right hand side of your call listing page. The last very important feature that is associated with our call listing page that you need to know about is what we call our search transcripts. By clicking on this button on the top right hand side of your call listing page, you're able to go and search all your transcripts. Underneath this feature, you can select whether you're wanting to see if both speakers are using certain words, or if a agent themselves is using some words, or the caller themselves are using any words. Let us, for our example, click on both speakers. So we are now going to go and search all the calls that have transcript and search for the word hello inside that call. So we type in the word or word phrase in the search field. We add that as part of our criteria of the searching, and we're going to say, I would like you to find it for the last 7 days. Calls over the last 7 days. Once I've added it, I need to press the apply button. After a moment, you will notice that all the calls that have the word hello in it will be rendered on your screen. Let us now search for additional words. So for example, we're wanting to search for another word or word phrase called good. We enter that into the search field and we add that to our search criteria. So we would now like to find all the conversations that have the word hello and the word good for the last 7 days spoken by either one of the parties. Once we're happy with that decision, we press the apply button. After a moment, you will see all the calls that have the word hello and the word good in them will be rendered in your call listing table. Let us look at one more scenario. Let us look at all the calls that have the words hello or the word good in them. So either good or hello appear in the conversations spoken by both parties that have occurred over the last 7 days. When we press the apply key, those criteria will be applied. After a moment, you will now see all the calls that have either the word hello or good and hello, or hello and good in them. So for example, this call here had the word hello. This call here had the word good. Yet this call here had the word hello and good in it, spoken by one of the parties. Once you have completed working through and searching all your transcripts for words or word phrases, you're able to clear the search by clicking the Clear Search button, which will result in all your calls being listed. And if you're wanting to close the search transcripts card, just go to the top right hand side of that card and click on the circumflex to close it. We are now back to our original screen. That concludes CallCabinet's how-to video on call listing page. The recommended video to watch next is CallCabinet's how-to video on the call details page. See you in the next video.